All right, it looks like we have a good amount of people that are continuing to trickle in. We will go ahead and get started. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our second installment of our digital webinar series addressing how to boost your business with digital marketing. Last month, I should say, we talked about display advertising. And today we're going to continue that conversation and talk about video advertising. All right, and so agenda for today, we're going to talk about why video advertising and some of the types of video advertising, whether it's video pre-roll, streaming TV, YouTube, and some of the different targeting options that we have for each of those. And then we're going to get into the reporting and talk about metrics that matter and some of the differentiators of, why each of these products and why Waterloo Media. And as always, we'll have a question and answer at the end. So if you have any questions between now and then, feel free to drop them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll get to them at the end. But I am Brandon Chesbrough. I'm our Director of Digital Media. And then we also have Justin O'Keefe, who's our Senior Digital Sales Consultant. So I am going to kick it over to Justin to talk about how programmatic ads work. Justin?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name is Justin O'Keefe. I'm a senior digital sales consultant here at Waterloo. Just wanted to remind you, for those of you that may have joined our first webinar, how programmatic ads work, because it's very, the video ads work very similar to the display ads that we talked about. So when you're online, you leave digital breadcrumbs when you visit those websites, retail stores, restaurants, read an article or buy from an online store or even subscribe to a newsletter. So with programmatic advertising, this gives us the opportunity to automatically match what kinds of users visit a website with ad campaigns looking for these kinds of users who are you're making sure that your ad spend only goes to the audience you want them to and maximizes the effectiveness of your ad spend. So we know who's reading the article based off of where they've been. So we can develop that profile and then make sure that we're serving ads to that audience and be hyper focused on that audience. So why are we talking video today, right? Video content right now is, if you guys have seen Zoolander, it's so hot right now, just bring you back into that. Americans spend almost 3 hours per day watching online video. That's over almost 2 times the amount from 5 years ago. So a lot of people are spending a lot more time watching videos, watching video content, either on their phone, on their TV, or on their computer while they're online. Average number of minutes per day that's spent on YouTube is nearly 20 to 30 minutes. 88% of people who say they've been convinced to buy a product or service by watching a video. It's this great content to get in front of the audience and showcase complex products in a nice, easy to understand manner and platform.
All right, so we're going to jump into pre-roll video. There's a few different types of video. Like we said, pre-roll will be the first one that we're diving into. And what is pre-roll video? So everyone's probably been to websites, whether it's news sources or Weather Channel or ESPN, for example, to watch highlights or to watch some sort of video content. So you'll notice that when you're on a website and you try and watch a video, oftentimes there's a pre-roll video that you watch. So it may be 30 seconds or 15 seconds, depending on the website. So we have the ability to show our clients ads in that space. Those websites that have those video players, they're generating revenue for their companies by allowing advertisers like us to put our ads in front of our target audience. So pre-roll video is essentially the same thing as programmatic display that we talked about last time, just in the video form. And here's an example of what that might look like. So for example, if you're on ESPN's website and I go to watch some highlights from a game yesterday, I might see a commercial like Allstate in this screenshot here. And it's either a 30 or 15-second ad. Sometimes you can skip it, sometimes you can't. And we'll kind of get into the benefits of both. And then targeting options. So very similar to display, like we were talking about last time. We can target people based on behavior. So what their interests are, what their browsing history is like, indication of what they're interested in, products and services. We can also target people based on their demographics. So age, gender, income, and then geography. We can target people based on what city they're in, what state they're in, or even down to zip codes or geofencing specific areas, certain parts of town that are of key interest. And then we can also layer in site retargeting. So if somebody's been to your website before, we can retarget that person with a video pre-roll ad when they're browsing online. And the reason we might do that is because someone has already shown interest in your brand. Maybe we want to get them over the hump by continuing to show a message to them to get them to make that purchase or to fill out the form to contact your business. So this is one of Justin's favorite things to talk about, the funnel, the sales funnel and the buyer's journey.
The sales funnel and the buyer's journey. Yeah, absolutely.
Justin, I'll kick it over to you to talk about your infamous funnel here.
Yeah, you know me, I love the funnel. If any of you have been on any of these other webinars or video calls. So what's a good time to use pre-roll? What's a good time to be using this as a tactic? Well, because video is so powerful and quickly shows viewers what your company is about in ways other mediums cannot. It's really great branding and awareness tactic, right? So getting your information, your company, your product in front of your target audience, building that awareness, getting that brand recall. So it really fits up in the top two portions, right? Obviously, with the targeting that we just talked about, we can tell if someone is interested in our product or service based off of what they've done on the web. So that's when we know they're in that interest and research phase. So we can hit them both in that branding and awareness and interest and research part of the funnel, where you're interested and the consumer is starting to look for more information. Great opportunity to use pre-roll video content there. One thing that kind of sets this option apart from some other video tactics we'll talk about here is that we can utilize this video content with site retargeting. So we can target people who've been to your website and with a video ad. So it's kind of, they've already shown interest, they've already been to your site, they may not have made that purchase. So we're trying to bring them back. So they're probably in that either that intent or conversion phase. So it's a pretty full funnel option that you can have presence in each of that decision-making process.
Fantastic. Thank you, Justin. So that's pre-roll video. Now we're going to talk about streaming TV a little bit. Obviously, a lot of you are familiar with streaming TV, cord cutters. I myself am a cord cutter, so I stream a lot of TV. So there's different ways that you can stream TV, right? There's people who are watching streaming TV on their big screen TV. So there's TVs these days have native apps, the apps that are already preloaded on the TV, where you can watch streaming content from apps right on the TV. So some people view streaming TV that way. Others use plugins. So either a puck, stick, or dongle. So think, Apple TV, the little box that you plug in, or a Chromecast, or a Fire Stick. Anything that plugs into your TV is part of streaming TV as well, including PS5s or Xboxes, so gaming consoles. And then another way is through small screen devices. So whether that's your computer, so your laptop or your desktop, or a tablet or mobile phones. And there's different ways that we target people, and there's different strengths for each of those platforms and how people are viewing that content. We'll get into that here in a little bit. So as far as targeting goes, it's pretty similar to video pre-roll in that we can target people based on their behaviors, demographics, and geographics. And then Justin, since the funnel is your favorite,
back to the funnel.
Kick it over to you again.
Theme throughout today. So when is it a good time to use streaming TV, right? Or when it's a part of your marketing mix? Well, streaming TV is one of the strongest top of the funnel products out there based on the sheer volume of views that you can accomplish with your video content. It also uniquely brings with it prestige and credibility by associating your brand with high quality premium TV content. And finally, it's fantastic for easily explaining those complex products and services that you offer as a business, and helps you establish that trust very quickly. why should, some more information on why you should utilize streaming TV as, as a business. Brandon, if you want to switch over to the next slide here, eMarketer just released some data, right, about TV usage versus connected TV usage. As you can see, over the last 5 years, from 2019 and then looking forward to 2024, streaming TV or connected TV has steadily increased year over year as more streaming content becomes available. So people are using it more. They can choose what they want. It's more on-demand type content rather than watching a traditional linear TV station. So we're starting to actually see viewers and time spent on these different mediums change, right? Almost to the point where in 2024, they're getting pretty close to almost being exactly the same. And most likely within the next 3 to 5 years after that, we're projecting that streaming TV users are going to cross over linear TV usage. So a lot of content out there. That's where a lot of the eyeballs are going. That's why streaming TV is something you should definitely consider as a part of your media mix.
Yeah, and one of the benefits of streaming TV is just how precise we can get with the targeting. So with traditional linear TV, we're targeting people based on information that third party has collected. So Nielsen tracks TV ratings and radio ratings too, which we're familiar with for our company. And they ask people questions about their interests and what they intend to purchase and things like that. So that gives us an audience who's more likely to do XYZ. The benefit of streaming TV and digital in general is that we can target people based on what that specific viewer or that person who's on the other end of that device, what they specifically are interested in. So it's really precise in who we can target. And there's a low barrier to entry too. With linear TV, it can be thousands of dollars a month. A lot of advertisers know that unless they have a big budget, they might not be able to do traditional TV. But with streaming TV, it's pretty low barrier to entry. We can run a streaming TV campaign for as little as 20,000 impressions a month. So lowers those barriers for a lot of companies so they can include video and streaming TV. And then we're also able to split the ads, like I mentioned, between big screen and small screen devices. So kind of the strength there is on a big screen TV, we're going to have really high exposure where people's completion rates are going to be really high on your video. So we usually see somewhere between 95 to 99% of people are completing those views when they're watching on a large screen device, because oftentimes they can't skip. On a small screen device, where sometimes you can skip, you can also click on the ad to visit a website, which is really great for our clients, because then people can make a purchase online or fill out a form to contact them. So both big and small screens have their own advantages. And then, brand safe environment, running streaming TV, we can make sure that your ads are viewed on high quality content and no, questionable areas. And it's just really impactful to offer the robust reporting. And we'll get into that here in a little bit with Justin talking about large screen reporting.
Yeah, so as Brandon said, there's a couple different options when it comes to streaming TV where we can serve the ads, right? Think about when you're watching TV at home. If any of you are like me and a big sports fan, where you're watching a football game on your big screen, and then you got the baseball playoffs on your phone. I mean, maybe not some of you are as crazy as I am, but that's what I do. So like having that big screen and small screen approach, you could hit me twice in a setting, being on both apps, which is pretty cool. What we wanted to show here, obviously with large screen, Brandon already mentioned, we do see a high completion rate. What are the metrics that really matter and stand out when we're looking at campaigns like this? Well, really, Brandon already touched on it. That completion rate, how many completed views we got of the ad itself. So we can not only track total impressions served, which is great. In this example, 184,000 people started my commercial. That's awesome to know, right? I know I hit them. They were in my target audience. But I even get deeper insights to see how many of those people that started watching the commercial actually finished it, watched it to completion. So I can see total completed views in this example of 180,000 of the 184, which is about 97% completion rate, which is kind of cool to see and know that my video content or my video ad is it's getting all those completed views and getting people to engage in the content itself. Another form of tracking here is analyzing those top performing channels, and we'll get into the inventory and channels here in a minute. But being able to actually see, even though we're targeting our target audience, no matter where they're watching on streaming TV, it's also good to know that even though my target audience may be watching Fox News, the Fox News app, they may not be watching my ad to completion there. So let's make some optimizations. Let's change and focus on a different channel, just because for some reason, even though it's our target audience, they're just not engaging in Fox News. Let's focus somewhere else, or any other type of channel, which gives you a lot of that insight to be able to dig into. In contrast with small screen, as Brandon said, a lot of these ads, and this is very similar to reporting that for pre-roll video on those small screens as well, or full episode players, is that they can actually have a click-through URL. You can actually click through to a website, make a purchase, do whatever. So we can track not only impressions, views, and completed views, but we can also see actionable engagement like clicks. So in this example, which is pretty small here, and I have to even lean in to see it, the CTR here says 0.33%, which is a really great click-through rate, right? However, if you look at, we still want to track how engaged the audience is within my video content. So since they are skippable, we don't see as high of completion rates as we would with large screen, which most of them are not. So 74% or 75% in this example is what we were able to track. But generally, we see an industry average about 50 to 60% completion rate on these small screens or pre-roll ads. A little more analysis on the small screen KPIs, the things you want to track, is tracking your audience, seeing how well engaged they are, seeing the completion rate of the audience we're targeting. So if I'm targeting outdoor enthusiasts, or more specifically hikers, or if I'm looking for barbecue lovers or beer lovers, just gives me more insight to see which audience is engaging in my video content a little bit better. And we talked about analysis of looking at the channels and inventory. Within this product, we focus on targeting our audience wherever they're watching. And that can be a blend of multiple types of content. And that's usually broken out into 3 different pillars, I guess is probably the best way to say it. The premium content is going to be the names that everybody knows, right? The Peacocks, the ESPN Pluses, the MLB.TVs, Fox TVs, those premium network apps, those connected TV apps. Then the next pillar is content distributors. So such as Pluto TV, Fubo, Tubi, your smart Samsung Smart TV channels, or Vizio TV channels where your ad can show up. And then lastly is those regional networks where the local TV station has their own streaming app where you can watch, if you're a cord cutter, for like the local NBC station, the local ABC station, and so on and so forth. The main importance here is, some of you may be all thinking, well, I don't see like Netflix on here. I don't see HBO Max or Amazon Prime or Prime Video on here. You got to keep in mind it's ad supported, right? There's no ads on there, we can't show your commercial. So these are ad supported networks where your commercial can show up.
Very good. Thank you, Justin. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about streaming TV that's addressable. So this is incorporating geofence technology into streaming TV, which is really cool. We talked about being able to geofence last month with display ads, but we can incorporate that into streaming TV too on large screen devices, which is awesome. So again, we're targeting people on their smart TVs, on those native apps that are preloaded on their TV, or if they're watching content through plugins like pucks, dongles, sticks, or through gaming consoles. And so what does that look like? So with addressable streaming TV, we can target people based on where they've been in the past. So let's use an example of a sporting goods store. Let's say they wanted, it's youth sports season. My sons are playing baseball right now and flag football. Okay, so let's say the sporting goods store wants to target families or people that have been to certain fields, certain sports complexes where youth sports happens, to encourage those people to buy their products. So we could target specific fields, certain key places of interest all across town or even nationwide if they wanted to get that granular. And we could target people based on where they've been in the past. So we're targeting them based on their device that they're on, where that's been. We can also layer in demographics and interests. So, as we mentioned before with traditional targeting, we can layer that in as well. And we can also give a custom list of addresses. So if that sporting goods store has a list of current customers or previous customers, and they can give us those addresses, we can put streaming TV ads in front of those people at those addresses. So pretty cool technology. And then, so what does that look like? It's incorporating streaming TV and the branding power of streaming TV with the efficiency of micro-targeting with geofence. So what we're kind of doing here is with the audience insight report, we can run a report where basically if we get key places of interest from our clients, we can generate a report to see what those people look like. And I'll get into that a little bit more on the next slide. But it's a way to, before the campaign runs, look at the audience that we're reaching or that we would potentially reach and see how many people are in that pool. And then on the reporting end, on the back end of the campaign, we can look at foot traffic attribution to see who has come to their place of business. So to get into that a little bit more, here on the left, we have the pre-launch audience insight report. So if this sporting goods store had a lot of key locations that they wanted to target, we can look and see what devices have been to those areas and what does that audience look like? Gender, income, how many kids do they have? Any sort of information there with the audience insight report, it just gives us a good look into the audience that we're going to be targeting with our campaign. And then on the back end of the campaign, after we actually launch and run the campaign, after the first month, we can generate a foot traffic attribution report. So we can see how many people that saw our ads then went to a key place of interest. So for example, the sporting goods store, how many people saw the streaming TV ad and then went into the sporting goods store, presumably to definitely to shop, but maybe make a purchase. So it's a really good indication of ROI if we can provide these foot traffic attribution reports to our clients and show them how many people have come to their place of business after seeing their ad. And then all this information is available in our 24/7 reporting and pacing dashboard, where we have campaign managers that monitor performance and optimize campaigns to generate the best results.
Yeah, and we can, to add on to that too, is very similar to the large screen reporting that we just went over, where we track the impressions, the completion rate, the channels, all those things where you have visibility into as well. So kind of a nice little added benefit there. And also we can track people walking into a store after seeing a TV commercial. Where else can you get that? That's pretty cool. So now, since we covered streaming TV and pre-roll TV, that brings us to YouTube, right? How many people have been on YouTube probably within the last week? I'm pretty sure everybody here has at some point. Who hasn't gone down a YouTube music video hole recently? I don't know. I definitely have. But did you know you can actually serve ads on YouTube and use it programmatically? You absolutely can. So what are programmatic YouTube video ads? Well, similarly to the pre-roll ads, they're video ads that play before, during, or after videos that are watched on YouTube, right? Just similarly to that, but just focused on YouTube. These are also known as in-stream TrueView ads, if any of you have been in the Google Ads platform. The thing that sets this particular medium apart from the others is that there are options where you only pay for ads that are watched or clicked. That means the audience, since they are skippable, and there are some obviously non-skippable options available, But if your ad is skipped before it finishes, you don't pay for that ad, but you still get that impression, which is pretty cool to be able to do. The ad lengths are very similar to a TV commercial or any other type of video advertising, where there's 15 or 30 seconds generally are the best. There's also 6-second bumper ads available. Those aren't quite as widely used. It's more so the 15 to 30 seconds. And it usually has to be watched before another video. So you have that option, either watch it to completion or skip it. And this appears on all mediums such as computers, mobile phones, or tablets. So what kind of targeting can you do? It's like I said, a little similar to pre-roll in the fact that we can target based off of geography, demographics, so who they are, where they live, what their income levels are, their education level, all that stuff. It's not quite as granular as the pre-roll option, but we can get pretty granular there. And then behaviorally, we can target people based on what their past behavior or tracked interest online. An added benefit here for behavioral targetings, we can target people based off of what they're searching or watching on YouTube. If they're watching how-to videos, we can target based off of that in a behavioral sense. So when should YouTube video be used in a media mix? Where in that decision-making funnel, does it fall under? Well, it's like I said, very similar to pre-roll, where it's a great branding and awareness options, has a massive audience of over 2 billion users. YouTube does. So imagine the amount of audience that we can reach and target there. So it's great for brand awareness advertising, especially if you can fit an enticing message into the first 5 seconds of a video before viewers can skip it. So that's a great opportunity there. It's also an excellent way to quickly explain the value and complex of your product, or value of complex products or services. And then it also fits in the conversion portion of the decision-making funnel, where people are looking up instructions. We can target people based off of that, looking at solutions or even product reviews. So you can showcase that you have your product before a positive product review video on YouTube. So pretty cool to be able to do that. A little bit difference in the reporting here. Traditionally, where we would be looking at impressions, possibly clicks here like we can in pre-roll, those metrics are translated more to views and view rate, which also translate to completed views and completed view percentage. The really nice thing here is that we can also look and see how engaging the audience is in the video. Since it is a skippable ad, we can track levels of engagement, looking at how many people watch to 25% complete, how many people have watched to 50 to 75 and 100%, to know where in our video content are people losing interest or falling off or skipping at that point. So then we can make more engaging videos when we're trying to create ads in the future. So a great way to give us that information, especially because it's a skippable ad platform. Now that we've talked through all of the different video options, what are some of the differentiators that sets us apart from some other agencies and vendors that have this opportunity? Well, it's really, honestly, we have that regularly curated block list of undesirable websites and apps. So your content will not be shown next to any objectionable language or inappropriate content or explicit content. We prioritize to those top websites, to those top inventories. We do frequency capping. So we don't show your ad to one person, all 20,000 impressions, or we don't show one impression or one ad to 20,000 people. We find that good mix where we're reaching people multiple times to continue to drive that awareness. We also institute day parting, where we do not show ads between 12 a.m. and 5 a.m. Brandon, why is that important? Why do we say that's a good thing, and why we do that?
Well, not the best web browsing maybe going on late night, but we can if it makes sense for certain clients. We just generally don't do it from midnight to 5 a.m.
And think about too, even though people may be streaming during that time, they may be falling asleep to a show or streaming like I do at night, where I'm streaming on my iPad and I may get ads, but really honestly, I'm sleeping probably during half of them. That's why we prioritize to those 5 a.m. to 12 a.m. hours when people are active and awake, right? So making sure your dollar goes a little further. And as Brandon said, our campaign managers are paid based off of the success of the campaign. So we're doing those frequent audience optimizations, making sure we're getting those high completion rates, getting those clicks and click-throughs, and total views that make sense for your business. And the brand safety aspect here too, like we already said, we already have block lists, so we're not going to show up on any of those inappropriate streaming services or websites or apps. But we also have measures in place where we can block our ads from running a get next to content on any site. So even though it may be a good site, but they may be talking, you may be an auto dealer, there may be a story about a big automobile crash. You don't want your ad next to that. We actually have brand safety measures in place to make sure that doesn't happen. And then lastly, we work with white ops, meaning that all the impressions that we bid on or all the content that we are trying to show your commercial or your ad to your target audience, we monitor that option or that impression to make sure it is an actual person and it's actually in your target audience and not bot traffic. So some pretty key points there.
Thank you, Justin. Well, we want to open up the floor to any questions that anybody might have about any of these video tactics. I know it can get pretty specific, and there's some different ones that we talked about today, from video pre-roll to streaming TV and YouTube. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We will give you guys a minute, see if any pop up. Justin and I just want to thank you guys in general for joining us today to talk about video and some of the ways that we can utilize these video tactics to boost your business. So appreciate you all joining today. Give it another minute or so here to see if any questions pop up in the chat.
Yeah, and if you all have any questions after today's webinar, you can reach out to us, to your AE, to ask your question. We're happy to answer, happy to talk a little bit more in depth about anything we've covered today. But just really appreciate your time and really appreciate you guys joining our webinar today.
Absolutely, and we're going to be doing this on a monthly basis, so please keep an eye out for our announcement on our next tactic. Spoiler alert, I think it's going to be email targeting. That's been a tactic that we've been utilizing a lot lately and getting some really good results for our clients. So next month, I think that's what we're going to be covering. So keep an eye out for that link to register for that as well. But yeah, I guess if we don't have any questions, we just thank you for joining today. We're going to be sending out a link to watch the recording of this. So if you missed any at the beginning, or if you just want to go back and rewatch Justin and his funnel for each tactic, feel free to do so, but we'll be sending that out by tomorrow. So just appreciate everyone joining today and everyone's time, and we'll see you again next time.
All right. Thanks all. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Justin.